Hi, everyone. This is David Rothfeder, and this is our first run of Seco Creek for the Gauntlet. I'm super excited about this. I've played this game once. It is a ton of fun. Why doesn't everyone just do a quick introduction? Don't really have to say anything about ourselves, just so people can assign a name to a face.
Hi, I'm Stephen Desjardins. I live in Washington, D.C. I've played a few games on the Gauntlet. I started with Gauntlet Con a couple months ago, and I've been playing storytelling role RPGs for about 5 years now.
So I'm Horst. I live in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. I don't know. I'm playing role-playing games for 30 years now.
I'm Pavel. I'm from Wrocław, Poland. And I'm with Gauntlet for something like a year now.
I'm David. This is my second Gauntlet game. The first one was a game of Winterhorn over Christmas break, which was a very good game.
Yeah, I've heard great things about that.
Cool. Hi, my name is Andrew Huffaker. This is actually my first game with the Gauntlet outside of Gauntlet Con, so super excited. Thanks for running it, man.
No problem. So we are going to be playing Seco Creek Vigilance Committee, which had a Kickstarter a few months ago. It is really a very dramatic Western story. What I'm going to do is just quickly share a couple of documents in the chat box so people can load things up. Sorry, I have to grab the correct links. I didn't want to pull this too early because then not everyone could see them. So these are what you'll need to see from the character sheets. And then this is the actual character tracker that I made. So why doesn't everyone get them, the documents opened up? And while I do that, I am just going to read. Let me change the sharing. Anyone can view to, anyone can edit. That will help out a lot. So while people are getting things loaded up, I'm just going to read the intro to the game. 3 infamous outlaws sit in the Seco Creek jail. You and your posse just deposited them there for the crime of knocking over the Weaverville stage. 1 lockbox missing and 1 life lost. The evidence against the men in the cell behind you isn't as robust as you'd hope. They're probably not all guilty, at least not for this. But their reputation precedes them, and the townfolk have no intention of letting them make it to trial in the territorial capital of Bright City. It wouldn't be the first time that any of the 3 had gone to trial there, and surely it wouldn't be far from the first time their gang leader, Duke Cahill, used his influence to get them off. The people of Seco Creek know this, just like they know that as powerful as he may be, Duke Cahill wouldn't be able to get them off the end of a rope if it's tied tight and dropped fast. Some of the citizens of your fair town are gathered outside the jail right now, and the train to Bright City doesn't leave until 3:10 tomorrow. What will you do? So as you can tell, this is very much a drama game about how to navigate this very difficult situation. For safety mechanics, we are going to be using the X card. You can just say X card, you can type it in the chat, you can hold up your hands like that. Basically, you use that anytime you don't feel comfortable, and we just stop play immediately. We can have a conversation about what went wrong if you feel comfortable about that. It is judgment-free. If we can revise things to salvage the game, we'll do so. If we can't salvage the game, hey, look, these things happen. No judgment on that. We just go and move on to something else. I've never personally had a game completely fall apart like that, but it is important to know that if you need that to happen, that is perfectly okay. To get started, what we're going to do is we are going to have each player read just the flavor text on the character sheets. The flavor text is the stuff in the top left. And just to make sure there's not going to be any overlap, I'm just going to go from left to right on my screen, assigning the roles that you read, and then we'll discuss who's going to be who. So let's have Andrew read Deputy Alfred Mills. Let's have, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Andrew, why don't you read Sheriff Damian Welter? David, why don't you read Alfred Mills? Horst, why don't you read Luke Owens? Howell, why don't you read Thomas Duvall? And Stephen, why don't you read John Gaiman? And we'll just go in order, read the flavor text, give you an idea of who each character is, so you have an idea of which character you're most interested in.
Cool. Do you want me to read right now?
Yeah.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, do you want me to read right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, Sheriff Damian Walter. There has been a lot of sheriffs in Seco Creek, although there hasn't rightly been a single one yet. That is to say, no one with the full force and power of the county court behind him. Nothing behind the badge but the man, and there won't be till Seco Creek is incorporated. Of course, that's something that any lawbreaker who gets hauled from Seco Creek to the county seat in Bright's City is more than happy to point out to the judge, the jury, and anyone who doesn't move away quickly enough. But to me, it don't matter. And I think it's the same for most of the people here in Seco Creek. A sheriff without backing stands only on his reputation, and I think mine is strong. I've treated these people fair and never made exceptions, except where they were warranted. I aim to keep the balance between freedom and order and keep Seco Creek a place where everyone can get a fair shot. That shot might not always come out the way the shooter wants, but I plan to make sure everyone at least gets the right to line it up.
Okay, Deputy Alfred Mills. It never fails to amaze me just how often it feels like I've stepped into a big old pile of horse shit. My eyes are on my destination, and then my boot is in the shit. It's that feeling of being stuck between two places, that awkwardness in between. You could be all the way here or all the way there, and probably either would be okay, but you ain't fully in either place. You think, well, here I am again, always finding myself in places I don't mean to and trying to do my best in that situation. Same thing happens to Sheriff Walter, except I don't think he knows it to be so. I envy that. Sometimes it's so much better not to know. But then, if you don't know that train's coming, you don't know to get off the track. Guess that's why Sheriff's got me. Guess that's why the whole town's got me.
So I read, what's his name? Luke Owens, proprietor of Owens Feed. I guess if you've been anywhere at all, you'd be likely to say that Seco Creek isn't any kind of special place. And you'd probably be right. But the thing about that is, we can make Seco Creek a special place. We can make it our own special place. Our beginnings have been as auspicious or not as any other place that became great. We just need the men and the women and the will to make it so. We already got ourselves a foothold out here, and now we need to start climbing. But you can be sure that not everyone wants to see us climb up to greatness. We need to be ever vigilant against those that would drag us back and tear down what we've already built. I won't lie. It's going to mean sacrifices and struggle. Suffering today for success tomorrow. That's how everything great got that way. It won't be easy for any of us, but nothing worth doing ever has been.
So, Thomas Duval, rancher. Some folk think I've got something against Seco Creek. I can't say as they are right, but nor can I say as they are wrong. It just to most folks, Seco Creek is the center of this place, the hub from which the spokes extend. To me, that's wholly backwards. I've been out here since before there was a place called Seco Creek, since before anyone even put up a building in the place, and that would later become Seco Creek. When I came out here, there was no cavalry to deal with Indians and Mexicans. There was no great store to buy your food and supplies. A man did for himself, and me and my own did quite well for ourselves. Got damn near 100 heads of cattle and been turning a profit on them for more than half a decade. Did it all on our own, without the help of a town. I'm not saying I got anything against Seco Creek. I'm just saying I ain't no spoke.
Stephen, you're muted.
Sorry. Okay. John Gammon, former outlaw. Some folks won't ever let you forget. And there's truth to the fact that maybe some things shouldn't be forgotten. That doesn't mean they can't be forgiven, though. I guess lots of folks around here don't agree with that way of thinking. Hell, maybe I'm even one of them. I don't know if what I've done is forgive myself so much as move on. Of course, moving on is harder when your only living blood is still right back where you were before. There's about as much chance of Billy moving on from the Cahill gang as there is of folks forgetting what he and I and the rest of them boys did out there in the sagebrush. Something just shy of 0.
Okay, so those are the 5 characters. What we're going to need to do is decide who's going to play which character. Feel free to look at any part of the sheet except for the burden. Some of those burdens are going to be public. Some of them are going to be private. So if you need to go through, flip over, see what what's written on there to get a better idea, feel free to just be careful about reading that actual burden part. However, the descriptions usually do a pretty good idea of setting up who each character is and what they're generally after. So if there's a character that specifically is speaking to you right now, feel free to just say, hey, yeah, I'd like to play this person.
I'd love to be Luke Owens if no one else cares to be the proprietor of Owens Feed.
Okay, I'll take John Gammon.
Anyone else had particular interest in those two?
Nope. That sounds good. I'll take the deputy.
Deputy?
I go for the ranger. Or rancher.
Yes. The ranger is pretty fun. I actually played the outlaw, and I played this myself, but the rancher also did really cool things. So that would leave Powell. Are you feeling that we would be comfortable playing the sheriff?
Yeah, well, why not? I always like a man with a gun.
Well, there's several people with guns in this game. In fact, it's pretty much assumed that if your character says they have a gun, they've got a gun.
You are being very roboty to me. Not sure if to everyone else as well.
I'm sorry, was I not coming in clear?
Yes. Okay, now it's better.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty much assumed that everyone has a gun unless they specifically say otherwise. Or there's a consequence that happens. So go ahead, read, now that we've determined the characters, read the additional things on your sheet, the keys, the burden, the privileges. I'll go over what all of those mean. Also claim the character on the character keeper. I just left a little section for you to write your name under the bear. I see Powell and David already took advantage of that. So.
David, real quick. So I'm sorry, I guess I'm a little confused about the burdens part. Did you want us to read that or not read the burdens part?
You only should read the burden for your character.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
now that we've set the characters, go ahead and read the burden. It's just some people might have a burden that is a secret from some characters, whereas other people, and I'm just going to say, John Gammon's burden is very obvious that his brother is an outlaw because Surprise, he's sitting in the jail right now. So in any case, if you notice, there is the tab that says NPCs. These are all of the NPCs that are pre-made in the game. We can add to the list if we need to, but that's going to be very important. So feel free to take a look at that tab as well, and we'll be filling in some more information about that. But let's see, it says to start getting into some creation stuff first. I want to discuss the mechanics first. So this game, as I was actually telling Andrew before we started, is a diceless system. We're not going to need to roll anything. It works purely on negotiations. If you are trying to do something against the world or against an NPC, you're negotiating with me. Effectively, you say, I want to do this. And I would say, this will be the fallout if you do that. And you say yes or no. Very simple there. If you're going against a PC, which is probably going to be more common, it's going to be a much more back and forth negotiation. The example they give is somebody saying, I want to punch this person. Well, they're going to say, hey, I'm going to punch you. And the other person said, well, if you do that, you're going to break your hand on my face. And the person who says, I want to punch, that doesn't feel quite right about that. But this is kind of a jerk move. Maybe the whole town season thinks that I'm a big bully. And, I have to deal with this mechanical effect and this mechanical effect. And the person who wants to punch says, nope, I'm cool with that. It happens. Now, they didn't actually negotiate a consequence for the person being punched. So unless that's actually in the negotiation, the victim doesn't, they have the narrative effect of getting punched, but no mechanical effects. Whereas the person who was doing the punching is getting mechanical effects because that was part of the negotiation. So it's pretty simple. The types of things that can be on the line are consequences. Those are narrative elements that get added to your character. The very obvious one is that's how wounds work. If you're wounded, you just write in a consequence that says wounded. If you're beyond wounded, you could get a consequence saying bleeding out, which means if you don't get medical attention, you're going to die. There can also be social consequences like bully or embarrassed or pariah. So those will get tacked onto characters as they go. The other thing is there is a currency in this game called favor. Favor is with four different factions. There's the townfolk, which are basically just everyday people among the town. There are the businessmen. Those are people who run something important. If Luke Owens wasn't a PC, he would be a business person, as would Thomas Duvall. There's politicians. They kind of want to be in power. And there's outlaws, people who don't follow the laws, and they basically want to be free. So just to reiterate, townsfolk want to be safe. Businessmen want the town to grow. Politicians want to remain in power, and outlaws want to be free. That's especially prevalent if they're in jail. The way it works is we'll start off with one favor in each faction, and as we answer questions, things will get adjusted. And I've actually programmed the sheet so that it will automatically tell you what their regard for you is based on how much favor you have. There's also a cheat sheet down there to remind you. That has basically both mechanical and narrative effects. For instance, if you are neutral with a group of people and you're trying to convince them to listen to somebody who they don't want to listen to, they're probably going to say, fuck you, or might say, hey, look, what are you why should we listen to them? And you'll have to come up with a compelling reason, probably give them something that you want in exchange. Whereas if you're an esteemed member of that community, they're going to say, you could say, hey, listen, give this person a chance to talk. And they're going to say, oh, okay. Now, the downside to it is if you're neutral with a group and you don't necessarily side with them, they're going to say, well, you're not that close to us. Whereas if you're the esteemed leader and you don't do something that they like, they're going to be like, why are we listening? Why do we think that? Why do we respect you so much? And you may lose favor with the group of people. So just keep in mind, over the course of the game, these things will fluctuate. If you do things that that group likes, your favor with them will go up. If you do things they don't like, it will go down. What's cool is when you play this in person, it's done with poker chips, and that's really fun and visceral. Obviously, we can't do that online. The other mechanics to know is keys. Just show of hands, who's played Lady Blackbird? Okay, the people who have will know keys very well. They're basically the experience generator. They speak to who your character is as a person, and when you accomplish what the key says, you get an experience, and every 4 experience, you clear it out, and you get something for it. In this case, you can either gain a new privilege, which we'll talk about in a little bit, or you can gain a favor. The other thing that in this game is a buy-off. That's when you abandon a part of your character and basically do the opposite. You can get rid of that key. It will no longer generate XP for you, but you get an advancement right then and there. Unlike Lady Blackbird, when you buy off a key, you don't get a new one to replace it. Once a key's gone, it's gone. That's because this game is much more temporary than Lady Blackbird. The other thing is privileges. Privileges is how you break the rules. Each character has 1 or 2 ways that they'll break the rules. Just read it. It tells you exactly what you can do, and that's important. Before we get started, we'll just do a quick introduction of the characters and what people will privately know about them. But we can wait on privileges for now, so we can get into some of the fun stuff. So let's go to the NPC list. The very bottom one. Somebody died in the murder. What we're going to do is we are going to determine who it is, and then we're going to each determine what your character's connection to that person was. Now, you don't have to go with anything obscure or anything like that. Obvious is just fine. Like, hey, they're a person I knew in town, or they were my protege. Now, the person who died was specifically a woman. Feel free to look at the other NPCs if you want to associate that woman with someone else. But otherwise, let's just determine who died.
Can you say again the event? Because I know you read it at the beginning, but can you remind us again the event that caused the person to die?
Yeah, absolutely. So you and your posse just deposited them there for the crime of knocking over the Weaverville stage. 1 lockbox missing and 1 life lost. The evidence against, the rest. Flimsy evidence against the people you arrested. So basically, someone robbed a stagecoach, stole the basically lockbox full of money that was being deposited, payroll, something like that, and shot a woman who somehow was involved with the stagecoach.
Would anyone be opposed to say that I see an NPC on here named Mayor Clayton Dix? Maybe there's a stagecoach with him and his wife with like the city's taxes, and they were like transporting it somewhere, and then these guys knocked it over and inadvertently killed his wife or daughter.
Does that sound good to people?
That sounds fine.
Okay. What was her name?
Victoria Dix.
That sounds so wrong. Okay, Victoria Dix. Okay. So, Sheriff Walter, what's your connection with Victoria Dix?
I don't know. Let's go hard on this. I was dating her.
What was that?
I was dating her.
Oh, so you were what? So was she the mayor's daughter or the mayor's wife?
Yeah, let's go with daughter.
Daughter. Okay, so this was not you were courting his daughter.
Oh, I know. Well, let's change it. It will be more interesting. She was the wife of the mayor, and we were just, sleeping with each other.
Okay.
Let's make it.
How hard you want? How hard of a relationship you wanted with the mayor? Okay. So let's just fill in that Sheriff Walters was having an affair with. Sheriff Walters, are you married yourself?
Probably not. I just served the law.
Okay. Yep. So Deputy Mills, what is your relationship to Victoria Dix?
It would be really awkward if she were my sister.
It would be very awkward. Is she your sister?
I'm a fan of that. If everybody else is okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Luke Owens, what is your connectionship with the with Victoria Dix?
If it's all right with everyone, I would like to have a relationship where maybe she was my friend and she confided in me that she was having this affair with Sheriff Walters. But I haven't told anyone about that.
Okay. So you were her confidant. Thomas Duvall, what was your connection with Victoria Dix?
I actually think that everybody knows about the affair because my wife and Victoria went to the same church. So they were friends. Is that a close enough connection or should it be closer than that?
No, that's a fine connection.
So both were active in the church, my wife and Victoria.
Okay. So basically it was like a secret that everyone knew.
Well,
Like maybe not the mayor, but like everyone whispered it behind their backs. So John Gaiman, what was your connection with Victoria Dix?
She publicly snubbed me when I asked her to dance at the town dance.
Ooh. So you may not be the biggest fan of Victoria Dix. Okay, perfect. The next part that we're going to do is we're going to fill out some relationships with the rest of the town. And this is what's going to affect your favor. So you have a list of questions. There should be 5 total. And we have a list of NPCs. And what you're going to do is you're going to answer each question and assign each one to a different to an NPC. And that's going to fill out your connections with people in the town and adjust your favors appropriately. You notice that I posted what faction they belong to, so it's going to be obvious. You do not, let's say you don't have to do these questions in order. Let's just start with Sheriff Walters. He's going to answer one of them. Fill out the connection, and we'll just go until everything's filled out. There are a couple of ones that I have already filled out, such as Billy Gammon is already listed as John Gammon's brother, because that is known. John, feel free to add to that listing, but no matter what you do, Billy will still be your brother.
And we start with a relationship of 1,
yes.
like a neutral with each faction?
Yes, set all of your initial favors to 1 before we get started, and I can help some people do that. just to make things go a little faster.
I'm sorry for silence. I'm just reading them first and then thinking who to assign them to.
No, that's perfectly fair. We haven't had as much time to review the sheets, so take the time that you need.
So do we have determined like whether the lockbox was found or not?
The lockbox is still missing at this point.
Okay.
Because if we had the lockbox, then we would probably know who, we would have evidence of who robbed the carriage. The fact that we don't have the lockbox means we don't have as solid of evidence.
Yeah, so one of my options seems relatively easy. One of the outlaws currently in the jail gave you a surprising sign that they respect your authority. Who? What did he do? Add one favor to that faction. I think it was Billy Gammon.
Mm-hmm.
Who? And so this was who? What did he do?
If you need to ask for suggestions, you can absolutely open it up to the rest of the players.
I have an idea. Just I'm not sure. Is it determined how we put those outlaws into the jail? But I'm going to say that if we have to like arrange it by somehow, that I just came for him and he surrendered.
Okay. Yeah.
Fight back. It could be a long fight, a long run or something. But he said, "Okay, Sheriff, I surrender." I'm not sure. Does it make sense? Is it a sign of authority?
No, that's fine. He when you came for him, he unlike the other two outlaws, he surrendered quietly. That sounds great to me. Okay, Deputy Mills. What's one of your connections you have with the town?
So I think someone thinks Seco Creek would be better served with you as sheriff. Who? Why? Add 2 favor to their faction. So I mean, the deputy seems like he's fairly practical, and I think that would appeal to the politicians. So I'm thinking that the agent, Elwood Grant. I think,
okay, so
sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so the guy, he's not from the town. He's from the territorial authority. So he's kind of like a representative of the United States. So he kind of like likes you better than the actual sheriff.
Yeah, I think so. And he thinks I mean, and it may be because he thinks, since I'm practical, that he may feel like he can manipulate me better by, appealing to my sense of logic rather than my, my sense of, what's right and wrong. So yeah, I think and it could be because he wants to manipulate me rather than he just thinks I would be actually better.
Okay, excellent.
You want me to go ahead and fill that in? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and fill that in. Luke Owens, what's one of your connections?
So before I say one, am I supposed to eventually fill out all 5 of these before we start? Or am I only supposed to pick one?
No, we're going to eventually fill out all 5.
Oh, okay. So someone in town owes you a significant debt of gratitude and, more importantly, currency. Who and why do they need that money? So I'm going to say Lindsay Hale of the saloon. He's a businessman. He owes me a significant debt because when he came to town, he took out a large loan from me, and it was more than he had credit for. And ended up working out, but he still hasn't paid me back in full.
Okay, Thomas Duvall, who do you have a connection with?
So let's see. Someone in town has lived on this land almost as long as me. And I think it's the town drunk. What's his name?
Leland Brothers.
Leland Brothers. So he has been here, not before me, but shortly after I arrived. And I think that fate has not been kind with him. And it might be because of me, actually.
Did he used to work on your ranch?
That might be it. And I had to let him go because he was unreliable.
But what a surprise, the town drunk wasn't very reliable.
Maybe he became a drunk later on. Who knows?
Okay. John Gaiman, who do you have a connection with?
I spared someone from being slaughtered by the Cahill gang. I talked some of the members of the Cahill gang out of shooting Lee then when they caught him cheating at cards. I just felt sorry for the guy. I mean, you should know better than to let yourself be cheated by Lee then. He's such an obvious schmuck.
Excellent. Sheriff Walters, you have another connection. Who are you connected with?
So there are not that many women on the NPC list, and one of mine says someone has romantic intentions toward you. Who? How do you feel about them? Add one favor to their faction, and I think it's Miss Lindsay Hell. Is it a lady?
So from one affair to another, it seems.
Of course, life has to be interesting.
Now, of course, it didn't have to be a woman who has romantic interest in you, but that's certainly an option. So it looks like.
How do I feel about it? She's a businesswoman. I think that so far I was like kind of ignoring her. I mean, I was polite to her. I always said her compliments, but I think maybe like she was like very forthcoming and invited me once or twice, and I like refused.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But now that I'm no longer dating Mayor's wife, well,
oh God,
that's cold-blooded, man.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Deputy Mills.
Yeah, so someone looks out for you like their little brother. Who? How do you feel about them? Add one favor to their faction. I don't know. I've gone back and forth a couple of times, but I was thinking about doing Amelia Hale. I think she treats me like a little brother. Unlike other people in the town, there's no sexual attraction there. Nothing lurid going on. It's just a pure like sisterly, brotherly kind of relationship.
Okay.
And I think maybe that's because we grew up together. Like she was maybe my she maybe babysat me or kind of took care of me when I was an infant. So I think she's 5 or 10 years older than me probably.
Oh, so when the sheriff came to town, she came up to you and was like, "Hey, who's your friend?"
I'm sorry. I was talking about Amelia Hale. Is she having an affair with the sheriff too?
I thought that's who was having the affair with the sheriff. She was interested. Oh, I see. Powell, Lindsay Hale is male. Lindsay is a male name, especially back then.
Sorry, my bad. Do you have any other women on the list?
No, not many. Now, if we want to rewrite it so Lindsay is female, we can absolutely do it. But I believe the game was set up so that Lindsay and Amelia, standard, are husband and wife.
Although if Lindsay's a female, then that would just make them sisters potentially, right?
Yeah, if we want to
mother daughter
that way. Like when I played, we made Amelia Hale Lindsay Hale's mother instead, so we can edit this how we need to. It's just
okay. I'm okay. I'm okay either way. I was just a little confused, but now I see what's going on.
I heard Hale and I thought that Powell was saying Amelia Hale instead of Lindsay Hale.
I have a connection with Lindsay, and if it's male or female, it doesn't matter. So, I mean, if you guys want to change the sex there, it doesn't affect, at least, because I don't think anyone else has a connection with her so far, or him so far, right?
Yeah,
so,
and it's in English, it's a subtle difference because it was spelled with an AY. That that's generally in the like back then in the U.S. How you could tell the difference between a male Lindsay and a female Lindsay. But if we want to make it, let's just make Lindsay Hale, the business owner, female.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yep, sounds good to me. And so then what's the relationship with Amelia? Is that siblings or a mother-daughter or?
Maybe like I think both are fine. Wow, let's make them sisters maybe.
Okay. So they are sisters. And I believe we were just moving on to Luke Owens.
Yeah. All right. So one of the town's leading lights has thrown their weight behind your civic vision. Who and why, and then add favor. I have Elwood Grant, who's an agent of the territorial governor. He believes in my vision. He understands that like judicious law and following the codes of law is important to bring civility to our land. But I'd like your guys' thoughts. Kind of, what does agent of territorial governor really mean? I mean, he's like a Pinkerton. Is he more of like a desk man? What's your thoughts about what Elwood Grant could be? Because then that might shape my answer.
Well, I mean, I kind of see him as somebody who represents the outside government's, interests. And so, I mean, I think he's probably a little bit of a manipulator, I mean, and he's interested in shaping the town, to meet his and the governor's vision of what it needs to be. It's a potential asset, a set of votes, that sort of thing. So I see him as a bit of a manipulator.
Is he more of a military background or more of a bureaucrat?
I think slimy kind of bureaucrat, like whether he lets that really be known. I'm thinking, because I read on here, he believes in my vision maybe behind the mayor's back. So if he represents the larger government, he probably wants to like put this place on the map, maybe more for tax reasons, or somehow he can line his pockets more if we, what is it called when small cities join the larger government? Is that annex? I don't know.
That's incorporated.
Yeah, incorporate. Okay, that's what we were talking about before. That once the government gets involved, that means that more money gets involved, and potentially he lines his pockets. And if he can do that behind the mayor's back, then I think that would make sense as to why he, is backing me, because I'm much more of a man of the larger politics than.
Maybe he's already bought some land in Seco Creek and some land that the government will need if they're going to.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, possibility.
I think that works.
Thomas,
I have a question, if I can. What is the profession of Jasper Fipas?
Livery. I believe that
what is livery?
Yeah, I believe that is like stables, and basically. He's the person that you go to if you need a saddle, or if you need a horse, or if you need to store a horse, things like that.
Cool, thank you.
So Thomas Duvall.
So let me see. As someone in town has prospered thanks to your ranch's success. Who? And I think, what about Lindsay Hale, the saloon owner? And would it be far-fetched if, at least in the beginning, I had, what's it called? Like I was producing a moonshine or something. So that's the first stuff that they sold. I'm not sure if it's still made in my, like on my property somewhere. Could be, but that's how they got started.
Yeah, you've got a still, and when things aren't when Lindsay is having trouble finding booze elsewhere, she goes to you.
Nice.
Perfect. Let's see. We are to John Gaiman.
Okay, one of the outlaws currently in jail was never as vile as the other members of the gang. Who? What made him stand apart? Add one favor to the outlaw faction. I am going to say that Abe Jefferson would never raise his hand to a woman. He would never commit violence against a woman.
Nice. Your brother totally would, though.
Oh yeah, my brother's a piece of crap.
See, that's a very important thing about that question is you're either saying your brother isn't so bad or your brother is a total piece of shit. I love that question, by the way. So, Sheriff Walters.
Which one do I have? Yeah, I think to follow up on yeah, wait, I'm reading my deputies. Yeah, I think to follow up on my deputy connection about to Edward Grant. I think it would be very fun if someone in town resents your power and would see you laid low. Who I remove one favor from their faction, and I think it would be fun if it would be Edward Grant. Just to follow up on the story, why? Yeah, I think I just don't budge. He tried to order me around, like, I don't know, make those people there sell me their land or something like that. And I just said, and I just showed him middle finger and told him to go do it himself. Those people have right to live there and do their business over there.
Okay, so you're just not impressed by his authority.
Nope. In this town, I'm the sheriff, and yeah.
Perfect. Deputy Mills, I believe this is number 3.
Yeah, you helped someone out of a jam, even though it was beyond your duty as an officer of the law. Who? How did you help? Add one favor to their faction. I'm kind of trying to look at some of the kind of like slightly sketchy things that are going on here in terms of legality and trying to figure out how to put it in. So it looks like Billy steals medicine for Luke Owens. Is that right?
It hasn't been specifically determined, but it looks like Alex did fill in some of his future answers ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
Andrew,
All right.
Andrew, yeah, I did. Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't know
Yeah.
I
Okay. I was trying to figure out, is like, well, did I miss that? I mean, I have been kind of like messing around, but like with the spreadsheets and stuff, and I didn't hear that one, but I thought maybe I had just missed it. And then we have there's one other one I saw. Oh, the moonshine, the hidden distillery. And so maybe I think I'm aware of where Lindsay gets her moonshine from. Like some evidence came up, as to what that connection is, and I suppressed it for her.
Okay.
Does that sound reasonable?
So we're going to determine that moonshine is not altogether legal in this territory right now.
Well, it was it's listed as a hidden distillery, so I kind of or maybe even if it is kind of somewhat legal, maybe it needs to be, you know, the right payoffs have to be made, and you know the right, you know, stamps, and this is provided for cheap, you know, so even if it is somewhat legal, it hasn't followed all the, you know, it doesn't have the official mark.
Right. Yeah, I was just you know, trying to set like the expectation, like whether it's legal or not, or you know, whether it's illegal but no one really cares. So this is actually like somewhat important that you know, this is not an official distillery.
Well, so I guess that is an interesting question, is because then it depends on who has, you know, is it that it doesn't have the right seals of approval, so that it's the politicians, you know, that I'm withholding this information from, or is it, you know, that it's purely illegal and it's kind of the law, you know, or the sheriff that I'm withholding this information from? That could be, I mean, I'm not sure enough about the structure of the game to know if that's something we should resolve now or we can resolve it in play.
It's probably a little bit better if we just come up with an answer, and I would say just you and Thomas Duvall. What's the status of liquor distillery and expectations around here right now?
I would assume that it's frowned upon, but not really illegal.
Okay, so maybe this is just kind of under the table moonshine. So, you know, maybe it's just that like the mayor and the territorial agent, they haven't gotten their cut because they haven't signed off on it as an official, you know, kosher legal, you know, or kosher source of moonshine.
It might be that you're hiding it from the townspeople, because maybe the townspeople, you know, don't like the idea that, you know, they're being served booze from Thomas Duvall's still.
Got it. Okay, no, that sounds good. Yep. All right.
Oh, I've got an idea, and tell me if you guys like it or not. Maybe they'll get upset because Hale has always told them that they only serve the good stuff.
Right.
And Thomas Duvall's still is not the good stuff.
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Awesome. So let's see. That was Deputy Mills. Luke Owens.
All right, so I'm going to change one of my answers a little bit based on how things are going here. But someone in town depends on your store for their success. Who and what would happen if your store were no longer for them? We kind of mentioned it before, but somebody had been stealing me medicine. It was one of the outlaws, but I think it would be interesting to say, who in town has romantic? Is that Lindsay Hale and Sheriff Walters? Is that who has like somewhat romantic things going on right now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Is that right? Does anyone else have any romantic things going on? No? Okay. So I think it'd be interesting to say that what's her name? Amelia or Lindsay Hale has epileptic spells, like she has like seizures, and I'm the only one who has medicine for her. It's not so much her success of business, but rather I'm the only point of medicine for her, and the only way I get that would be from it gets stolen for me. But if I no longer have access to that medicine, then it'll get much worse.
Okay. So if you choose Lindsay Hale, you already chose Lindsay Hale for the significant debt.
Oh, you're right. I did. So then what's the relationship between Lindsay and Amelia? They're sisters?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then I'll change that to Amelia. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Thomas Duvall.
Let's see. One of the townsfolk knows about your cattle deal, but hasn't said anything yet. So for the other players there's some kind of illegal cattle dealing. And so one of the let's see, one of the outlaws knows it. Why not the boss, Duke Cahill? Knows about the cattle deal. And let's see, what's the other question? How do you feel? Why have they remained silent? Good question. Why have they? What do you guys think?
I mean, it could be that your deal is with him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we made our. I was actually assuming that they stole it from somewhere, and I benefited from it.
Oh, so you bought their rustled cattle.
Yeah, for cheap,
a
obviously.
term basically where they go out, steal cows from somebody's herd, and basically do something to the brand so they can't tell that who the cow's true owners are, and then sell them to you. And you obviously knew that these were branded cows that you're
exactly
rebranding.
And I think for Thomas Duval's ranch we chose a very intricate branding that just gets a cross over everything. It's a cross in a circle with a plus sign and a wiggly line or something.
It was, oh man, it wasn't just designed to cover up other brands. It was designed to cover up a specific competitor's brand.
Awesome.
John Gaiman.
One of the townsfolk has employed you doing odd jobs. Why do they trust you? Jasper Phelps has me helping out around the horse stable because he saw how well I treat horses, and he figures anybody who likes horses that much has to be okay.
All right. Damian Walters.
I'm still not used to this name, but maybe I will get used to it. So, I'm not sure. Is it the time when the railway was being built? Is it invented? Is it like not important yet now? Because I kind of want to say that someone relies on me to maintain their position. What would happen if you fail them and add to favors? And I kind of want to say that Jasper, so we said that he sells horses and stuff. So I suppose he has like a large ranch somewhere on the verge of the city, and this is exactly the place Elwood Grant wants to put our railway station, because just next to it he has his local house. So he wants to buy him over, and so far I'm like keeping him away. Stay away, man. He has the right to own. He owns the land and so on. So if I somehow fail him, if Elwood manages to get somehow the land, he will just lose his ranch. I'm not sure if it makes sense because it's kind of like a very hard to put through.
No, I think that works. It is established that there is a railroad to Bright City, so there's a railroad stop nearby. However, it's possible that if the town gets incorporated, they'll need to build a much bigger railway station. Maybe this will be more of a rather than a spoke connection, more of a railway hub, and it's possible that the library is near the railway station, and that's the land that Elwood's trying to snag up for cheap.
Yes, of course. And we can add that maybe so far library is not doing so well on business, so that's why he wants to make them fail completely, the business. Cool, and he is a businessman.
Oh, so I think Elwood's been coming up, every couple of months with a new esoteric law from the territorial governor about regulations when it comes to horse stealing.
Yes, exactly, and like raising taxes for local horses, and so that we have to like import horses from other towns, so that it will drive him out of business.
So I think the newest law that they came up with is every horse needs to be be fitted for a hat. Now that doesn't mean that you need to have hats for your horses. You just need to know every horse's hat size in case it is necessary for you to get a hat for that horse.
Yeah, that's most definitely. And I told him that this is the most stupid thing he ever came up with.
And you're basically refusing to enforce that law.
Yeah.
Excellent. Deputy Mills.
One of the outlaws currently in your jail knew the man you shot and forgave you for it. Who? Why did he forgive you? Okay, so quick question. So up against Abe Jefferson under John Gammon, there's a would never commit violence against a woman. That came from John Gammon's history about one of the outlaws in jail was currently never as vile. Is that correct? Is that where that came from?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Yeah, that's a weird one because it's not like a direct connection. It's kind of like just like a fact he knows.
Yeah.
But you know,
the idea is John Gammon knows all the outlaws because he was an outlaw himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's something I know because of my connection to the outlaws.
Right. Okay. All right. Then I will move down to Trevor, and I will say I killed Trevor's brother Steve in a shootout before, and he has forgiven me for it. So we have a bit of a relationship there. Does that sound reasonable?
Was it kind of a, hey, look, my brother was shooting at you, you were shooting at my brother.
Well, yeah,
you were the better shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the outlaw code, right? The outlaw's job is to steal, and the law's job is to try to prevent it. And we were just both doing our jobs, and he came out on the losing end, and he understood. Just like he'll shoot me if he gets, if he needs to, he'll shoot me, and if I need to, I'll shoot him. That's the way it is.
So for Trevor, it's nothing personal.
Right, and he understands, and he's forgiven me for it.
Perfect. Luke Owens.
Yeah, let me bring that up. So I think I said Billy Gammon. Billy Gammon steals medicine and sells it to me on the cheap so that I can then sell it to Amelia Hale.
Okay. Thomas Duvall.
One of the, let's see, your ranch wasn't always as large as it is now. One of your neighbors feels that this expansion has infringed upon their land rights. I mean, we have established that Elwood Grant is a landowner. Is that true?
Yes.
So that could be, just going to the list. Or maybe, let's see. Or Jasper Phelps, the owner of the local livery. What do I want? Sorry, Pavel, what was your connection with Elwood?
My connection with Elwood is really bad. He wants me replaced with my deputy.
Yeah. So yeah,
My connection to Jasper is that I protect his business.
So I think Elwood Grant is a landowner. And what is the question again? Are they right to think so? Damn yeah, I just stole the land. You moved the posts. In the early days when everything was a bit fuzzy.
he was like buying up land when the town was starting to form, and you're like, no, I drive cattle through here, and you just like dig up his posts and set them down like 100 feet in the other, in the other direction.
Exactly.
Nice. John Gammon.
Someone in town refuses to believe you have changed your ways. Who? Why do they doubt you? Mayor Clayton Dix. He says there's no room in his town for criminals. And as far as he's concerned, I'm a criminal.
All right. And I believe we're on to the last question. So, Sheriff Walters.
Let me find the one I haven't yet answered. Yeah. You let someone off with just a warning, even though you had them dead to rights. It means that I could arrest them or something?
Yes.
Yeah. What did they do? Add one favor to their faction. I kind of think it was Leland, town's drunk. He is sometimes causing trouble in the saloon. Maybe he sometimes assault people when he drink too much. Maybe he sometimes crashes a bottle or cause other troubles. And I just take him out, throw him out, but I don't put him into jail because I believe the man probably has nothing except for his barely standing house. So, and he probably will not change his ways. So I just try to keep him away and stop him from causing trouble, but I never sentence him for anything.
Okay. Alfred Mills.
Okay. Actually, okay, so someone in town did not and will not forgive. Who? How did they know the man? Remove one favor from their faction. So I assume they're talking. This is a callback to the one above, right? This is about the man I killed, right?
Not only that, I believe it also has to deal with your burden.
Oh, well, that's very interesting as well.
Do all of the last questions have that correlation with the burden?
So every bottom question is the negative favor question.
Okay, so actually, given this, can I actually I think I'm going to want to change my answer to the previous question as well. So how does this sound? So how about Mayor Dix's son was the person I shot, and he was Duke Cahill's lieutenant. So Duke Cahill has forgiven me for killing his lieutenant because it's just business, and he understands that. Whereas the mayor has not forgiven me because it was his son I killed. How does
I'm good with the change. Is everyone else?
Sure.
Okay, then I will roll with that.
So I do have a follow-up question then.
Okay.
Does that mean that the mayor is complicit with Duke Cahill, or was his son just a problem child?
When I said that, my intention was that I mean, it's complicated. So my intention is that he is not complicit. It was just his son. But of course, there is this, he's torn because he's family, right? He's his son is doing something that's wrong and he knows is wrong, but he's still my son. I still love him, and I try to support him, so he has a toe in that world maybe, but it was kind of unwilling. That was how I was thinking of it, but obviously we can go if other people have other ideas, we can go with that.
No, I'm just trying to level set where the NPCs are.
Yeah. So the thing I had about how there's no room in his town for criminals, maybe he blames the criminal element in his town for leading his son astray.
He's he's transferring his disappointment in his son to you, John Gaiman, because his son did not get out in town and you did not get out in time.
Right. Yeah. Why his son was a better man than John Gammon? Why couldn't his son have gotten out? Why did it have to be John Gammon who got out?
Okay. Excellent.
Maybe we can add to this that maybe there is in secret, maybe Mayor wants Mayor wants Duke Cahill, yes, to get the lively for him, so that there is like a conflict of interest between Mayor and Elwood, even though it's like a silent war. So like Mayor didn't have a manpower, so maybe there was a deal in the past between Mayor and the outlaw boss to get the grounds.
I don't know that.
Too far-fetched. Okay, no problem.
I was like that seems to kind of trample on what we what we were setting up for the mayor of him being pretty against the outlaws. It sounds like.
Sure, no problem. It would just adding stuff. Yeah, let's be.
And to be honest, we don't need to make things too much messier than the game already makes it. So that was Mills. So Luke Owens, your last question.
Right. Yeah, and this is my last one. All right, so with my connections with the government in my past and being related to law, but now being a business owner, I had convinced Victoria sometime before she had passed to invest a large amount of money into these horse hats, because I knew that I would also be able to sell her these horse hats. And in that process, her husband, of course, had lost a lot of money on that deal. So he's pretty upset that I convinced her to invest in horse hats.
Yeah,
so I have horse
hats.
Yeah. He's got a personal grudge with me. But, now that I look at the question, I don't know if I interpreted, I forgot because the question says one of your creditors begrudges your debt. I don't know if that means I owe him money or he owes me, but I thought that at least sounded interesting, my interpretation, calling back these horse hats. So
that's fine. We don't need to worry too much about who owes who money.
Sure.
That's not really what the game's about.
Right, yeah. I just I thought it'd be interesting to call back these horse hats. so there we are.
So you brought in the idea to Elwood Grant that horse hats is a thing, and they're totally stupid.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah, of course. But I have relationships with the government, and I know when the government's involved, money's involved, and I can sell these horse hats. So if that law caught on, then there's a lot of potential money to be made. So I would need investors such as the mayor's wife. And she obviously doesn't have money of her own, so she took her husband's money, and this deal went sour, and so her husband lost a lot of money on horse hats. So now maybe he has boxes and boxes of horse hats that he can't use.
Okay, Thomas Duvall.
So my last relationship is one of the outlaws who brokered your cattle deal showed himself as a true son of the West. We do. Let's see. It was what do we know about Billy Gammon?
He's a piece of shit. But he's a piece of shit, but he did surrender peacefully to actually the whole posse when you guys went to arrest him.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise he's a piece of shit who beats women.
All right. He's a true son of the West. Maybe it's Abe Jefferson then, who brokered the deal. So he made the connection between Cahill and me, I guess. he approached me with, you know, the suggestion to buy stolen cattle. How do you guys interpret true son of the West? Not giving a shit about the government or the laws?
I think the question really is there to specify what does Thomas Duvall see as a true son of the West? Which, you know,
I think, yeah, I see. I think a true son of the West, freedom is more important than the rule of law. You know, survival of the fittest, the strongest, and every kind of regulation is slavery, more or less. So he proposed the deal. I don't know. It was like I don't know, maybe wagering or putting his bet on what he thought would be the most powerful rancher, which is Thomas Duvall, and that's what Thomas Duvall respects in him.
Mm-hmm. So maybe Abe Jefferson isn't an outlaw so much because, you know, he wants cheap money and things like that. He's an outlaw because you know, he's gonna live free no matter what anyone says.
Live free or die trying.
You can't take this guy from me. Oh, sorry, different series. Okay, sounds good. And then John Gammon, the very last question.
Yeah, someone in town knew you since boyhood, since before I fell in with the wrong crowd. I'm going to say that Amelia Hale and I were sweet on each other for a while, but then I fell in with a bad crowd. She dropped me. I sort of regard this as one of the great missed opportunities of my life.
Okay. Perfect. So, mechanically, everyone should have a favor total of 8. If you don't, please go back through, double check your favors, make sure that's accurate. Does anyone have any further questions about NPCs or the game? Because otherwise, you know, I was going to say let's take a bio break and then play through for the next couple of hours to, you know, see how far we get.
I'm just curious with one question.
Mm-hmm.
About the third key of the sheriff,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't quite get the meaning and it doesn't match the name. The name is like key of first shot. And then it says turn this key when you aid the underdog or champion a hopeless cause.
Mm-hmm.
Like the name has something with shooting, and then it's like helping some hopeless cause. I don't really get it.
Yeah, so a fair shot is basically a euphemism in the United States for giving someone a chance that normally wouldn't get it. So it basically means, hey, here's someone who you want to find people who have no chance to succeed and give them a chance to succeed. That's what it meant to give them a fair shot. It's
Cool.
not literally shooting a gun.
Cool. And then buy off side with the front runner means to just don't give them a chance.
It means, hey, here's somebody who doesn't have a chance, and you're going to side with their opponent against the person, against the underdog.
Cool. I get it. I'm ready for bio break.
Okay. Any other questions or details we want to flesh out?
Yeah, I'm really crap, but I have +6 instead of 8.
Okay.
And I don't know why.
Let's go and take a quick look. So this is Thomas Duvall. So +2 with criminals, +3 with criminals, +3 with business people, +2 with townsfolk, -1 with politicians. I'm sorry, 0 with politicians. So going back through that, you should be at 3 with 3 with outlaws.
Oh, 3 with outlaws. There we
3
go.
with business people, 2 with townsfolk, and 0 with politicians.
Awesome. Sorted out. Thanks.
No problem. Okay, so let's take about 5 to 7 minutes. Let's say around 2:25 for a bio break. It'll also give me a chance to review some of this stuff, get an idea of what the initial condition looks like, and then we'll get in and hammer this.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna do a restart. I'm having a few technical issues, so I'm gonna exit and restart my computer over the break.
Sure. Post in chat if you need me to repost any links.
Okay, I think I have them all, but I will. All right, thanks.
No problem. Okay, I was just taking some notes on what some of the most important things about our NPCs are, because we have some interesting people to deal with.
Yeah, I found it the most funny that like 3 of us are hostile with politicians.
Oh, the politicians hate you guys.
Yeah, like I thought that is going to be like outlaws, but it seems outlaws might not be our worst problem.
Oh, so the game I played of this, everyone was corrupt. Like the sheriff was corrupt, the deputy was in league with outlaws. Thomas Duvall was like almost was like an esteemed member. Like everyone was against was fighting against the law. And of course, it's really hard for John Gammon not to be in positive regard for with outlaws. Actually, quite a few people. It's the game. The game kind of specifically sets up a lot of people to have at least one connection with an outlaw to make people care about who's in that jail cell.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting, because I was thinking like, so what's the problem? I walk in, I shoot the 3 of them, and that's it. End of session.
Hey, let me ask. Let me turn my camera on. Instead of Moody, I'm sorry, I don't mean to. I just walked in. I hope I'm not cutting someone off.
Oh no.
When instead of muting on my computer, I have a mute button on here. Does it?
Yeah, it
click
doesn't.
When I do that. Oh no, but does it make like an annoying?
Nope, it just cuts off.
Okay, cool.
You'll notice with me, I do this a lot. That's because there's a physical mic cutoff in my headphones. That just is it's a hard mute, and it's so much easier for me to do that than to click mute unless I'm going to be away for a while.
Right. And, I mean, it also makes sense because that way you don't forget that you're muted and start talking.
Yeah. So we are all here. So it has been a long, dusty day. You have gone searching high in hell and high water looking for these 3 men. They were not hiding out in town. You basically found them wherever they were, dragged them to the jail cell, went out to find the new one. It was a godsend when you found found Billy Gaiman, and you thought he was going to be the worst of the 3. But you show up. He had just lit his campfire for the night. He was going to camp out among the stars. There the 5 of you are with rifles and shotguns, and he just says, "Okay, let me put out the fire." But you get back right before sunset, dirty, disgusting, tired, but now you have these 3 men to deal with, and word has gone around town that you have found the culprits. So you are in the sheriff's station.
I'm sorry. Before I go in character, I'm having like a little trouble grasping the purpose of this game. We did all of this. We set everything. I'm having trouble grasping because Lady Blackbird has like a very clear goal. You have to escape the ship, find the location, get to Uriah. Done. And so, here, I don't know.
Okay, so the law says you're supposed to wait for the train at 3 p.m. tomorrow and make sure that these 3 are on that train. The town is really pissed off and is likely going to try to hang these 3 people. Duke Cahill is going to want these 3 people free, or on that train so that he can get them free in Bright City.
Okay.
You are basically the 5 in the middle.
Cool.
Okay, and actually, can everybody hear me? Just make sure.
Yes.
Okay, and one other thing. Both technical problems I restart didn't fix. My fan keeps coming on, so I'll try to keep my mic mute. But if you hear what sounds like a vacuum cleaner, it's probably my fan. And the other thing is I can't get the Hangout toolbox to load. It just says it's downloading, and then it just eventually fails.
Yeah, Hangout tools have been really wonky ever since they made some changes. So if you can't get your lower third going, don't worry about it.
It worked a couple of weeks ago for Winterhorn, and I just assumed it would work, but I've struggled with it, and I've tried just uninstalling it and reinstalling it, and I can't get it to load. So we'll just
I've had the same problem always. It's never loaded once for me.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
it's like Russian roulette. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm
surprised it works for me.
Yeah, I don't have a lower third, and I'm gonna stop fiddling with it for this session. So maybe next session.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I even have stopped even trying to make it work. 2 years ago, it was a fantastic tool, but it doesn't work so well anymore. Yes, hard day, and unfortunately, it's not over because now you have these 3 to deal with.
Yeah, I think Sheriff Walter just sits in his chair, probably puts his boots on the desk, and then looks at the other men gathered here, and he realized the day is not over. Takes the boots off, but doesn't then stand up. Look really tired.
Yeah, when you put your boots up, even just a cloud of dust comes up off of them, just from the You just kick up, clouds of dust from doing that.
Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you for your help. You were good help in finding this outlaws, these culprits. We still don't have the logbox, so but we will worry about this tomorrow. It seems we have to question them about the whereabouts of the logbox. For now,
you hear someone overhearing you, and Trevor is yelling, "You piece of shit! I didn't do nothing."
That's up to the judge to decide, Trevor.
Yeah, this is America. We got something called evidence. You got any goddamn evidence?
All right, I'll just say, all right, Trevor, keep it down, or you're not getting any food tonight. So just keep it down.
I don't want your fucking diarrhea in a plate.
Well, then you're not getting any.
Gentlemen, I suggest that we maybe take some shifts. Just in case old Cahill decides to show up with some men to rustle his boys out of the jail. Maybe I should take the first watch. I would be really glad if one of you can stay with me. So that way, Alfred and 2 of you can take a rest, clean up, and change us maybe in 6 hours.
I don't know, Sheriff. You think 2 people is enough? The townspeople were pretty unruly last time, and I think this time it's just going to be worse.
Well, I'm the law in the city, and I have them in my jail, so I'm pretty sure I can talk some reason into them.
If it's all the same to you, Sheriff, there's a lot of extra cells in here. How about we all just bunk out here for the night until that train comes?
Sounds like a good idea to me. And Mayor's wife got killed. He really wants to make an example of these guys, and as well as I do, they get to Bright City. Judge is just gonna let him go. I mean, these guys probably weren't even part of the robbery. They're just part of the Cahill gang. I mean, I know we got to make an example. We got to arrest somebody, but
I'm not sleeping in a cell. I'm going home. See you later, boys.
See you, Thomas.
And Thomas walks off.
Okay, we'll deal with Thomas in a little bit. Let's kind of see how things are brewing in the sheriff's office still.
John, and I like stand up, walk to John, and I like lower my voice so that the in cells the bandits can't hear us. And I says and I say, John, listen, I know we got Billy, and maybe you can talk to him about the whereabouts of the logbox. What is Cahill's stand on this all attack? If anyone can get to him from the four of us, it would be you.
I'd like to help, Sheriff, but look, none of those guys are going to admit they know where the lockbox is. They admit they know where the lockbox is. That's admitting they were part of the robbery. I mean, seriously, unless we can get some evidence that they were even part of the robbery, there's no way we're going to get any of them to talk.
Well, we need to start somewhere, and there is the institution of state witness. If Billy can drop some really hard evidence to connect logbox to Cahill, and then we can maybe then we can stop Cahill getting his men out of the jail, because we will break his reputation. Maybe we will get some federals to go after to help us with Cahill. It has to start somewhere. I think it's worth a shot.
I mean, I'll talk to Billy, but might be worth talking to Abe. I got a hunch. If any of those men are innocent, it's going to be Abe. He would not have shot a woman. So maybe Abe knows what's going on. Maybe he can at least give us a hint about who to put pressure on.
Is this a private conversation with John and the sheriff, or can we all hear this?
You can all hear it. We are just not really whisper. We are just saying not loud enough so that the bandits in the jail cannot hear us. But okay. All of you out here can join in and can hear us.
Okay.
That's a really good lead, John. I will try to talk to Abe.
Sheriff, I think maybe we should separate them. You can talk to Abe, and maybe I'll talk to Trevor, and we'll see if we can come up with something.
Okay, and I'll talk to Billy, but Billy never paid me much heed.
Well, gentlemen, before you start this interrogation, let me say, as my past with judicious law and the right to due process, Washington Administrative Codes 392-172A-01035, Section A through K. That's right, 392-172A-01035, Section A through K says everyone's entitled to a due process. But we are men of law, if not men of honor. If you separate these men, you could offer any one of them immunity if they can tell us where the lockbox is and turn in the others. And maybe even a reward for turning in the others. But that will only work. You get one of them to confess when you talk to them separately. That's my piece on
that. Well, look, I never expected you to know the federal law so well.
Part of my past.
Oh yeah. I imagine it's good to know which laws not to break. Yeah, that's really good idea.
And Sheriff, when you talk to Abe, make sure and stress about how an innocent woman was killed. You know, he seems to, you know, care for the fairer sex. You know, and I think if you point out that a woman, an innocent woman, was killed in this robbery, that may get him to tell more than he would normally.
Yes, and I think you can see that that Damien reacts like when you mentioned a woman was killed. He reacts like he knows very well who was killed, and that's maybe there are like more than just a hint of sorrow. And he says, "Yes, yes, that's
Sheriff,
Okay.
would it be better if maybe I questioned Abe?
I'm actually going to cut. Let's go to Thomas Duvall. So yeah, you're saying, nope, I'm tired, I'm going home. And as you're coming out of the sheriff's office, Leland Druthers comes stumbling up to you. It's like, Thomas, my good friend, my buddy. When was the last time we talked?
Not long enough ago, I guess. What do you want?
Come on, have a drink with me.
I was going to the saloon anyways. I was expecting you to be there because that's where you hang out.
First round's on you, right, Mr. Big Shot?
Look, have you heard? They got Cahill.
You locked up Cahill? What? You
I know.
crazy?
They're a bunch of a-holes. You know how we did it way back. Just a rope around their neck, the next tree.
Yeah. It's kind of rubbing his neck. Just a rope around the neck.
So, and we're walking through the saloon to the saloon.
Yeah. So yeah, you're you walk to the saloon and Lindsay spots you. Pours you a glass out of a fine bottle, but you recognize the color's not quite right. This is likely the stuff that you gave to her last month.
Yeah, I'm pointing to the top shelf.
Oh yeah, this is the top shelf.
I lean in. Lindsay, dear, I want the top shelf. And I wink.
Yeah. Coaches don't come around very often with anything too high on the shelf.
Let's see. Yeah, give me that horse piss then.
What are you talking about? Finest booze in the West.
And I lean back and I put some, what's it called? The tobacco that you chew in my mouth.
Snuff.
No, snuff is the stuff that you sniff.
So,
All right, sure.
snuff is for the nose.
Yeah, it's basically just, you can just call it chew.
And I turn around and look at the saloon. Anyone I recognize?
Yeah, actually, most of the towns here. There's a lot of like whispered conversations that aren't that quiet. Some people who like just all of a sudden yell something. Tensions, you can tell, are really high.
Can I pick up any conversations? Have rumors already reached the saloon?
Oh yeah, tons of rumors in the saloon. They say that the mayor's wife was skinned alive. They say that Billy Gaiman had his way with her. They say that the mayor did it himself. They're saying that Sheriff Walters is in on it. Basically any rumor you can think of concerning this is flying around.
And is the atmosphere? Is there like a lynching atmosphere, or is it more like out what's going on?
It's tense. There is not any organization, but you feel like things are like it's on a downward trajectory. There's no people are very unsure, and currently there isn't much to give them faith.
So I say to Lindsay, I'll give Leland a glass from me.
You sure about that? I think he's I think he had enough about 10 years ago.
Exactly. Another one won't kill him. It will kill him in the long run, but
it's your money. You want to pour it down the pisser? Yeah, go ahead. And what's your current regard with townsfolk? Yeah, townsfolk. No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and take an extra favor with them. You're being part of them. You're buying people drinks. Yeah, I think that makes you part of the group. So Lindsay asks, so what do you think they're going to do to the five?
I don't know. There's a train coming, I heard. They're doing it the proper way.
Well, they've done the proper way the last 12 times. The last 12 times, they always came back. You ask anyone around here and they say, here's a chance to get rid of 5 scumbags with just a couple feet of rope.
I spit my chew and say, damn right. Not sure about Abe, though. He has a heart of gold.
Heart of gold? Look, that still didn't stop him from shooting. No, that didn't stop him from shooting the last sheriff.
The last sheriff was an asshole as well. He had it coming.
Yeah, well, can you say any different about this sheriff?
Not really. The way I see it, rope will do them good. Not sure about Abe, though. Heart of gold, I tell you.
Yeah. Guess I'll have to take your word for it. I mean, as he creates just as big of a nightmare as the rest of them. She pours herself a shot, hits it back, doesn't even gasp or anything. All of a sudden, I'm going to cut back to the jail, but you see Mayor Dix walking in to the saloon, and he's not looking so great. And we're going to cut back to the jail. So you guys are looking to interrogate some people.
I just want to ask a clarifying question. Did we establish that Mayor Dix was also on the coach?
Yes, it was him and his wife on the coach.
Cool. Yeah. I'm not like really curious, like what is my relation to actually the three other supporters, because I'm looking for names. Because sure, Alfred is my deputy, but the other ones, do we say that, I don't know, I gave them like temporary deputy badge?
So this is something that used to happen in the Old West. When the sheriff had need, they would round up what's called a posse, which is basically a couple people they trust to help them do what needs to be done. So they basically, these are people who basically agree to help you out and have the legal authority to do so because you gave it to them.
Cool. So, so to make it interesting, I think Sheriff would say, "Well, I think we spoke. I'll leave talking to the outlaws to you. I will go pay my respect to the mayor and maybe get some more details from him." He pointed at us to those three men. I want to question him politely about exactly what happens, and maybe this will give us some more possibility to get some evidence. Deputy Alfred, I'm leaving you in charge, and I will go speak to the mayor.
Okay, and I'll interrogate the suspects.
Okay. Are you interrogating all three, or are you letting other people help with the interrogations? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, no, sorry. I was also thinking. I think I'll handle the questioning. I think I'll maybe put them on some guard duty for now. Actually, no. I think I'd like to have one of them with me. Who would be good? So Thomas is gone. Well, how about Luke? Luke seems to know the law, so maybe Luke and I'll question them together.
Okay, and John is keeping an eye on the other two?
Yes, and also making sure, we are a little concerned about the townspeople, so making sure that, nobody comes in.
Okay. So who are you questioning first?
Well, let's start with Abe. I think, as was mentioned out of my presence, he has a heart of gold. So I think we should. I think we have a little bit of leverage with him as well.
Right. I mean, I don't think it's so much that Abe has a heart of gold as that he thinks it's unmanly to strike a woman. So he probably would not have shot the mayor's wife. I mean, I don't think he's actually a very good person.
Yeah,
he's just
no.
the rest of them.
Yep. And so, I think Luke and I will go into the cell and we'll say, or I'll start off and I'll say, Abe, terrible things happened today.
Yep.
And an innocent woman was killed, and you and I both have a high regard for, the women folk, and I can't believe that, you feel any better about this than I do.
I sure as hell didn't pull the trigger.
Well, but there's, as you and I both know, there's more to killing than actually pulling the trigger. If you know something about it, you need to step up and help us out. So what do you know about it?
The way I figure it, I don't need to do anything.
So I mean, that's just as good as you pulling the trigger yourself, son.
I don't see how so. I was just minding my own business, and you started minding me.
Well, were you there? Were you at the coach? Did you see what happened?
I didn't see nothing. I didn't go anywhere.
So that's your story then. You weren't there. You didn't have nothing to do with it.
That's right.
I'm gonna pull the sheriff off to the side, put my arm around his shoulder, and kind of just have a little powwow with him and say, "All right, this guy's not talking very much. We might have to do a good cop, bad cop kind of thing. When it comes to interrogations, you can get anyone to say anything, whether it's true or not. But if you ever want to get someone on your side. You just have to give them what they want, but it has to be on our terms. So, should we make this guy a deal within the confines of the law? If he helps us, if he gives us some information, maybe we give him a little stipend. We don't have anything to go off right now. It sounds like the evidence we need is that lockbox.
Yeah. Well, here, let me let's let him stew for a minute, and then let's move to Trevor. Maybe we can do a little good back cop on Trevor. And so
you get back, and Trevor is banging on the bars with his tin cup, saying lawyer, lawyer, lawyer.
Okay. Well, just as a final thing to Abe, I kind of want to, like twist the knife, and I'll say to him, Victoria was a wonderful woman, and you know it. She was nice to you. She was nice to everyone in town. She treated you with respect, and now she's dead. And I want you to think about that a little bit and what that means for the rest of us. And then, we'll go out and we'll go to Trevor, and I guess I'll start as bad cop, and Luke.
Yeah.
Luke, you can be good cop, and so
okay, yeah.
Jump
in there with
I'll
a strong presence and kind of scare him and rattle him up, and then I'll pull you off.
Yeah, and so I'll take like a stick, and he's like rattling the bars, and I'll hit the bars really hard, not actually strike him, but enough to cause the vibration to make him let go, and I'll say, "That's quite enough, Trevor."
Hey, I got rights. I don't know what they are, but I got them.
Trevor, the rights you have are the rights that I say you have, and if you don't settle down, I'm gonna have to come in there, and I'll show you the rights you have. So
come on, bring it, big man, bring it.
Okay,
I'm gonna jump in. I jump in there.
I'm gonna pull away from you, and I'm taking off my gun, and I'm getting ready to. Are you
trying to scare him?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's. So this sounds like a negotiation.
Okay.
I'll say that. I'll say you can totally scare him, but not until he actually says something that cuts really deep. I think he's going to. Yeah, I think you're gonna come into the cell, looking to pistol whip him.
Mm-hmm.
And right before you swing, right before you do that, he's gonna say, "You're man enough not to, to face me face to face and not shoot me in the back." Cutting real deep to what you did before.
Right, yeah, implying that I shot Steve in the back. Yep.
Yeah. So are you willing to take the condition of rattled to intimidate him?
Yeah, I'll do that. And then
describe what that looks like. Like he totally brought up something that you're kind of ashamed of. And then how do you recover from that to make him back down?
Yeah, I think that's gonna stay my hand for just a second, and I'm gonna try not to give away, that he's rattled me, and I think I'm gonna cover it, with anger, and I'll be like, what did you say? Only a coward shoots a man in the back. Are you calling me a coward to my face? But it's totally a cover, and I think maybe he can see that. I think he can see that underneath I'm posing.
Yeah, but are you have him in hand with the gun backswing ready to smack him upside the head, or?
Yeah. I haven't actually hit him, but I think.
Yeah.
Can I propose?
Certainly.
Because the whole thing is I want to show this guy that I'm on his side. Would you, because you're rattled, would you, for the scene, would you be willing to say that he gets you enough that you kind of throw a swing, but I get in the way of it and it maybe like cold cocks me on the eyebrow, so I get a little bit of blood, and I want to show him like I'm trying to like mediate the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so like he does rattle you enough, and then so the negotiation is I do pull you off so I can talk some sense.
And I was going to say
that sounds like a second negotiation.
Okay.
You're trying to impress Trevor.
Right.
So I would say if you take the consequence of wounded, you can get
totally.
favor with the outlaws.
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
Okay.
So I go up to 3.
And then I think when that happens, I think I think I am rattled enough that I move off, and leave him in the cell, and I leave the cell. And so where am I? Mills.
So
Actually,
So
I think I'm rattled. I think somehow I ended up wounded.
Yeah, I think it was just put on the wrong sheet.
Yeah, so I'm
You have the rattled
rattled.
consequence.
I'm sorry.
Owens.
That was yeah, I was on the wrong one. Let me that was my mistake. I'm sorry.
There you go. Oh, no worries.
So we're going to do the interrogation of Trevor in a little bit. In the meantime, there's a bit of time that John Gammon has with his brother, when he's just watching the prisoners.
Yeah.
Now, I believe John Gammon has a privilege when it comes to this situation.
That's because whenever I interact solely with him, I can choose not to gain or lose favor with the outlaws. So
okay.
Billy, got yourself in a bit of a mess again, didn't you?
Not too big a one. Just got to wait for the train. Be back here in a week.
Yeah, smart of you not to pick a fight.
Honestly, what's the point of it? We've done this song and dance long enough. You used to be part of it. Guess again. Hey, bro.
Oh. Yeah. Could be different this time, though. Somebody shot the mayor's wife, and he's not going to let this one go, Billy.
So maybe I find a different town.
It might not be a bad idea. I mean, it might not be a bad idea to get out of this whole business, get an honest job, to tell you the truth.
What do you think? I'm a sucker? What?
Have
me shovel horse shit for the rest of my life?
I may shuffle horse shit, but end of the day, I go home, I sleep in a warm bed. I mean, so someday a warm bed is going to sound really appealing, Billy. I'm just saying.
Yeah, suppose that does sound pretty appealing to a lapdog.
Have it your way. I'm just saying, there is an opportunity here. If you know anything about what happened, because I'm not giving you advice one way or the other here. Okay, just to be clear, but I'm telling you, if you know anything about what's going on, if you tell them where the lockbox is, you give testimony, you won't just get a reward. You'll get immunity. You can get set up in a new town. It's a good opportunity. Doesn't sound like it's one you particularly want right now, but I'm just saying, think about it.
Now, look, saving me a week of trouble and Ducat Hill a bit of money. That's a bit tempting. Now, I don't necessarily know where that lockbox is, but if you're talking about a reward for just pointing a finger, hey, pointing a finger ain't too hard. Which direction should I point it?
You got to point that finger in a direction that'll stick. I mean, you just they don't get a conviction out of that. They aren't. There's not going to be a reward. I can tell you that right now. You gotta.
Wow, how big of a reward are we talking about?
How if I know? You think they tell? Look, could be a it could be $100. It could be $1,000. I don't know. I don't know. That's
$1,000.
can't guarantee. I mean, I would have to talk to the sheriff. I don't know what they got arranged.
I think I can manage $1,000.
Okay. You want me to drop a word in the sheriff's ear? See what we can set up.
Yeah, for $1,000, I'll point wherever you want all day long.
I'll talk to him, but does mean you're burning your bridges with the Cahills. Got to make sure you're okay with that.
Don't $1,000 will get me pretty far away from the Cahills.
Okay, I'll talk to the sheriff. Whisper quietly in his ear, see if we can set something up.
So, let's go to the interrogation.
So just for that last conversation, just to make sure I read that situation correctly, Billy's basically saying, "I'll pin this on anybody."
Yeah.
And is John complicit in that? Does he understand that Billy's saying, "You just tell me who to point it at, and I'll point it"? And is John actually going, "Yeah, okay, I'm cool with that too"? Is that was it?
I mean, I understand that Billy is going to point the finger at him, and I was saying you've got to make it stick. I mean, maybe he can make it stick because he knows who the right guy is. Maybe he can make it stick because he can make up a convincing story.
Okay, so you're well aware that it may not be the truth. Okay, I just want to make sure.
I'm aware that it may not be the truth. I'm also aware that it might be the truth.
Right. Okay.
And you're probably aware that Billy Gammon doesn't particularly care if it's the truth or not.
Right. It's just I figure it's easier for him to make the story stick if it's the truth. So what I was saying, it's got to be you've got to come up with testimony that'll stick. It's like him saying, "Look, if you know who did it, just that's the guy we want you to point the finger at." But it's at the same time, it's okay. If you've got a convincing story, you can probably get the reward. You can get out of town. You'll be better off. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And if it's not the truth and kind of he knows it, how does that fit in with the key of redemption? Is that kind of like a backslide? I mean, maybe not enough for a buy off, but I mean, I'm just curious if we're flirting in that territory.
So
I'm sort of urging him to go in the right direction and actually pin this on the right guy, but at the same time, I'm not pushing too hard.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that right now nothing concrete has happened. So we'll see how dirty John is willing to get to see if he's certainly not turning the key of redemption right now.
Right.
We'll see how dirty he'll get in case he wants to get to a buy off of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And if Billy wants to pin it on the wrong person, I want to not actually know that he's pinning it on the wrong person.
By the way, when it comes to keys, I'm not going to track them really tightly. If you think you've turned a key, just turn it.
Right.
So the interrogation.
Okay, so I think when we left it, we were talking to Trevor, and I think I've stormed out of the cell, and Luke is now talking with Trevor, right?
Yeah, you probably pulled him away from the cells so that you can have the conversation.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm thinking for this scene, I really want to do, and this is going to be a big trust move, and I'm hoping it works out in my favor, is that I want to enter, what is the gentleman's name? Trevor's cell, and I just want to sit next to him. So if I have access to keys, maybe I walk across the room because they're in cells, right?
Yeah. So right now, unless Deputy Mills gave you this, the keys, he's the only one who has the keys to the cell.
Oh, okay. And where is Deputy right now?
Well, he opened up the cell to get Trevor. I assume if you're having a conversation.
I think we were together, and so
so
we got into the cell, but I think you're in there.
Perfect. So I want to just sit next to Trevor, and we're sitting in this kind of, I guess, de facto makeshift kind of interrogation room, and sitting next to him, and I'm going to say, "You said you wanted a lawyer. Well, I'm the only legal representation you have out here. This is the land of blade and bullet, and I'm a God-fearing man, but there's no God out here. There's only men, and men have laws, and that's all we can follow. That and honor." And I'm going to take my gun, and I'm going to put it next to him and let him look at my gun. So he has it. And
like take it into his hand?
Yeah.
Okay. I assume you want him not to shoot you with your own gun.
Correct. So I'm totally acting on good free will and hope he doesn't shoot me.
Wow. Okay. What do we know about Trevor? Nothing.
We don't know much about him, right? He's the NPC that doesn't have. I don't think he has any relationships.
No, he doesn't. So yeah, he you offer him your gun. God.
So depending on how long it takes me to calm down, I'm also willing to come in and interrupt this if that's how we want to do the story.
No, he's going to take the gun and do the obvious thing and point it right at you. But he's confused himself. He's like,
sure.
So why am I not just shooting you with your own gun and making my escape?
Yeah. Well, for one, you can't make him escape. You could kill me, but you're not getting out of here alive. But I'm not against you. You said you wanted a lawyer. I'm on your side. And you need trust. I need leverage on you. You have leverage on me. So I'm totally putting him ahead of my well-being right now because I need him on my side.
He recognizes that as soon as he gives the gun back, his leverage is gone. So he's going to need something concrete. He wants you to write and sign a statement that basically giving him an alibi for his whereabouts for the last 40 days. You obviously didn't know where he was for the last 40 days.
Right. So now that he has my gun, he wants me to make up a story as to where he was.
And that you basically are accounting for his whereabouts for the last 40 days. You personally.
Okay. I'll agree to this. So wait, so am I supposed to agree to this so he doesn't shoot me?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is why you don't give a prisoner your gun.
Yeah. Well, I'll agree to it. Sure.
Okay.
Let me see. I mean, I can't not, right? Because this guy's got my gun pointed at me.
You could say he shoots you, and you'll probably take the wounded consequences. Is the other thing?
Well, I'm already wounded. But so let me ask. I have the most points I have is in business and outlaws. So, can you tell me a little bit more as far as is that number just an abstract of my ability to my reputation with outlaws?
Yeah, it's basically where you fit into their group. So you are
part of their group.
Yeah, part of their group. That still said, this is a scared guy who wants a way out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you gave him a way out, and he's basically he's giving you another option. Now, I'm going to say, if you write this letter,
Uh-huh.
you're going to be more than part of the
sure.
group. You're going to be an esteemed member because you basically
I mean,
just created a fake alibi for them.
right. And I can't not write this thing, whether it ends up in the right hands or not. But I must, right? The guy's got a gun to my face.
Well, you take another consequence if he shoots you. You're already wounded, so we'll probably be bleeding out, which means you would need medical attention.
Yeah. No, I will make the alibi. I'll write it. And I'll agree to him that I'll write it to show him trust. Regardless of, I guess, how this kind of ends up, what I'm really interested in, though, is the truth. So I'll tell him I'll write whatever he wants, but I want to know what actually happened.
Yeah, so he comes up with this convoluted story of how you were working for him, like to make a trade with some Indian tribe. And he literally describes it as some Indian tribe.
Okay.
So this is like, you're constantly having to like improve upon his story so it actually sounds reasonable.
Ridiculous. Okay.
But he basically, once he has it signed, he like squares away in his pocket, like leaves the gun on the desk because he basically got his freedom there as far as he's concerned.
Sure.
He's like, I have no idea what went down there. I honestly, I ain't telling you what I was doing, but it wasn't. It ain't no stagecoach robbery.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. The last thing I want to accomplish in this scene, and we can negotiate how to do it, is I want his gun, but the reason why I want his gun, I was hoping that...
Well, he didn't have a gun because he was arrested.
Okay, so if he had... What I wanted to check is if we can look at everyone's guns, if we can see which one is missing a bullet, then we could potentially pin that on whoever shot the Victoria. So
the only person... you already confiscated whatever guns they had on them. The only person who didn't have who didn't have missing bullets out of the gun was Billy, because everyone else shot at you.
Okay, but that's good to know. Okay, so I've written this dude a potential alibi. What he wants me to do with it, or what we do with it after that.
Card.
Say again.
A get out of jail free card, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sure, but he says that what was going on was not related to the intention was not a robbery. It was something else, and potentially this lady was shot for some other reason. He
basically is saying he had nothing to do with the stagecoach robbery.
Okay, but he didn't tell me what he was actually doing. Okay.
No, because he was. It sounded like he was about to tell you, and he's like, "Wait a second, that was illegal what I was doing," and then stopped telling you what he was doing.
Okay, that's good. That's good information. So
he also
I'm satisfied.
In addition to him saying that he didn't do it, he also believes that it was not a stagecoach robbery. Correct?
No.
Trying to imply that
what he was involved. What he was involved in was not a stagecoach robbery.
Got it. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so let's jump back to the saloon. And Thomas, there is a very ragged mayor who just walked in. He's not ragged in the way that he's dressed. He's ragged in that he just does not look good.
I wave him over, and I say to what's his name, Leland. Hey, Leland, what do you think? He looks a bit out of himself.
Didn't his wife just like die in front of him or something? Oh. He's kind of like half passed out on the counter.
Yeah, right. You're right, man. So he comes over to the bar.
Yeah, he doesn't sit right next to you. He kind of sits on the other end of the bar, but he's alone. And it looks like he's a little unsure if he's actually going to order booze or not.
I'm telling Lindsay, I think our mayor needs one.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's one thing to lose a spouse. It's another thing to be there when it happens.
Yeah, it must be rough. I'm not a fan of the mayor, but no man should be witnessing these kind of things.
I don't know. Been a hard couple of years for him, I suppose.
Politicians, you know how they are only looking out for themselves.
That's a little cold. I mean, his man loses his son, then loses his son again, and then now loses his wife.
Just saying, it's the Wild West. It's not the East.
Oh, that's true.
Tough things happen. And he has my sympathies.
Look, you're a real son of a bitch, I'll tell you what, but gotta hand it to you. If the mayor had half as much iron in his blood as you do, we probably wouldn't be having issues with Cahill.
Tell you what, that whole Cahill thing could be over just like this. Couple of men, feet length of rope, an old sturdy tree, and that whole thing is gone.
I don't know. Cahill may dynamite half the town before we get a chance to, if we tried something like that. Dude, he ain't quite right.
What do you mean?
I mean, look, outlaws, they like their guns, they like their explosives. I get the feeling that Cahill likes them a little too much.
Yeah, he went too far. I mean, I get the whole riding on your horse, shooting guns once in a while, stealing what ain't yours. That's all good, but killing a woman in front of her husband, that's harsh.
Ain't gonna lie about that. Taking 5 men to do that, too. Because what were they afraid of?
What do you mean? I was out of the character. They were 5 men when they killed her.
No. So remember, this is the saloon. Rumors going around. She believes that you arrested 5 people.
Mm-hmm. And we arrested just the 4.
Just 3.
Cahill, Gammon.
No, Cahill is not arrested.
Cahill's not arrested.
Yeah, Cahill is the boss. It's just the 3 are arrested.
Yeah, if you look at the NPC sheet, I think it's the top 3 guys, right? Because this is outlaw. Like those 3 are the guys who are in jail with us.
Oh yeah,
the top 3 are the arrested ones. The 4th one is Duke Cahill, who's out, doing his thing, and then it goes through the rest of the townsfolk.
I see. So Thomas says, yeah, I don't know. It was just the 3, as far as I know. Cahill wasn't there, or he got away.
I mean, is Leland here says it was a dozen men who robbed the carriage, and he saw it himself. Of course, it's Leland,
Yeah.
so
He can't even count to 12, as far as I know.
Sure he can. 12 bottles, which is about what he owes me on his tab.
So, get the mayor his drink or what?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the girls has gotten taken care of, but I'll pay my respects in a little bit. But you know, we should give him a little time to fume first. Don't want to be the first one into that powder keg.
True.
So I think this is about when Walters enters.
Yeah, so I like push the door open. Probably the heels of my boots like really hit the floor hard, so that may be a little bit harder than usual, so that everyone kind of like notices me.
So when you come in, the whole saloon just goes quiet, and you know, Jasper is actually, you know, it's just silence, and then Jasper just does a slow clap, and about half the bar kind of joins in, you know, clapping because, you know, you caught the people, but like the other half is a little reserved and not quite ready to, you know, celebrate yet.
Yeah, I like give them a moment to clap and say, thank you. And I just like walk, yeah, I think I like beeline to the mayor. Maybe on the way, I of course like nod to Thomas, and while walking past the bar, I like look a second too long on Lindsay, and then I like arrive at the mayor's, just next to him.
So Thomas, you see Lindsay pull out from the bottom of the bar something and gives the sheriff something that has that dark, nice amber color.
I whisper, son of a bitch.
Yeah. I like grab the drink and say, we got some NPCs. Thank you, Lindsay. And I just like walk toward the mayor. I like stand just like next to him, maybe on his right, because mayor is sitting at the bar. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like stand like close to him so that it can be sort of like a private conversation if I speak quietly.
Yeah. Right now he's just staring into his drink. He hasn't quite acknowledged you.
Yeah. Maybe before I talk, I like take a sit just next to him, grab the drink with both of my hands, and I says, I got the Freeman you pointed out. I would also like to say my condolences for your loss. Miss Dix will be dearly missed in this town. And I like empty the drink.
When you say his wife's name, he just pounds the drink out of nowhere.
Yeah, and of course, even though probably there's like silence in the bar, I like say, I wish to speak to you, Mayor. Maybe somewhere where there are a little bit less ears. And
whatever. He tosses the glass kind of casually to the floor. It's one of those like motions where you would expect it to break, but it just doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose is there like a table in the corner where we can talk? I just like look around the corner where usually.
Yeah, he'll, you know, before you even like point to a place, he's just walking to like a private corner.
Yeah. Yeah, I look at Lindsay and I just like look at her with like to acknowledge, and I just like lean over the bar, grab the bottle from under the bar, 2 glasses, and I just like walk with the mayor.
Oh, did you grab the bottle that Lindsay poured for you?
I grabbed the one that was closest to me. If it was the same, then yes.
No, then no. You notice that the liquor in this bottle looks very different than the glass that you were given just a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't intend to really drink it. It's like more to wither the mayor. Yeah, and I just walk out, just walk after the mayor. I put 2 glasses. I pour equally to both of them. I take a sip, and I say, "Oh my God, what's his name?" I suppose I don't really. I almost never call Mayor by his first name, but on this occasion I just cut right through all the pleasantries, and I say Clayton, you gotta tell me everything what happened over there, who did what, because right now all of them claim that they are all innocent. None of them had a lockbox. We need some hard evidence, quite quick, very quick, because your word is powerful. But I'm not sure if this will be enough to give those 3 men a proper sentence, if you know what I mean.
Then just let the town have at them. They're in the mood. They're sick and tired of this bullshit. Look, there have been, for too long, too many people have been out to hurt my family. It's about time that stops. Now, Sheriff, you're devoted to this town. Can I count on you to help me find the people who have been hurt in my family and give them the justice that they need? I'm not talking about Bright City justice. I'm talking about lead justice.
And I changed to from his name to Mayor Dix. I'm the law, and the law will keep continuing, keep working in this town. No people justice will be served to anyone, as it says, innocent until proven guilty. Therefore, maybe this time we can. We already have a pretty strong evidence, which is your testimony. We just need a little bit more to put to put those men out for good, so that Cahill cannot take them out. Maybe then we can break some of them to get some hard evidence on Cahill. And I say we need to do it right. Lead justice is not justice.
So you're trying to get more of a testimony out of him.
Well, I imagine that so far we just arrived at the shootout. He was holding his wife dead, and he just shouted out the free name of those men, and we just went and grabbed them. Now I want some more, and I'm willing to ask difficult questions. I mean difficult questions, just clarifying questions. I want to get from him what actually happened over there, because so far I don't know that the interrogation haven't turned anything. But I want to know.
Yeah, he basically gives you the exact same story that that basically it was him and his wife delivering the taxes to Bright City. The two, the 3 people just rode up next to the carriage, forced him to stop, shot his wife, took the lockbox, and left. Um,
It seems that we have a lot of information and some incongruent information, depending on who's telling us what. I'd like to hear.
Well, we have no information. We know nothing.
Well, that's not true. I mean, it sounds like. So I'm speaking above the table here, of course, but it sounds like the drunk who supposedly said he saw everything, the amount of people he saw was different. We know that there is a Duke Cahill, but he wasn't involved based on what Mayor Clayton said. He said that only 3 dudes came up and shot his wife. So,
now, one thing that is important about this game is this is not a murder mystery. This is not, your goal is not to figure out who done it. There is a whodunit, but it's more about what your characters do and how they navigate and how do they deal with their different philosophies when it comes to this situation. So I wouldn't devote your too much mental energy on trying to figure out what who actually is responsible. If it becomes important to the story, I will reveal it. Stay in character. Do what you think your character believes in.
Yeah.
Okay, and then quick question about that last scene. So when the mayor was talking to the sheriff about getting some lead justice for those who killed his family, since I killed his son, is there some sense that there's a subtext going on? He's also talking about me?
Probably there is.
Probably.
Okay. Yep. I just wanted to make sure everybody
he was using very general terms about getting revenge.
Yep. Okay.
I guess I want to go with him into details. Like I'm asking him about the color, about the colors of the horses, of the 3 of them. What were they wearing? Did they use rifles or revolvers?
As you start drilling him, he's like, I don't need this bullshit. He just gets up and leaves. Remember, you are hostile with politicians.
Of course. I guess as he stands up and is about to leave, I stand up and I force him to sit, and I say, "We are done." When I say we are done.
If you do this, it will cause a scene that will affect your regard with your favor with the townsfolk.
Yes.
Okay. Lose a favor with the townsfolk, and you forcefully sit the mayor back down.
Now, coming back to my questions, and I repeat calmly the questions: colors of the horses, armaments. Basically,
my wife is dead, and you are forcing me. You're treating me like a common criminal. You
Mayor
have
Dick.
overstepped your bounds.
Mayor Dix, I'm the law in this town, and if I'm going to see,
and I am the mayor.
If we are going to see the law in this town, we need to have some good evidence against this man. I'm asking you because I want to question them and be more precise in getting then their consent in finding the logbox. I need details.
These 3 people killed my wife. Why are they not dancing from a tree right now? And he's saying this loud, and the whole tavern has caught on to that, and they're mumbling.
I'm guess saying to say Maya has a point, though.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say to him, and well, it will probably hardly backfire, but I'm going to say to him, well, Mayor, so far we got nothing except your word that they did it.
Are you calling me a liar?
We just need hard evidence. And so far, you are all but cooperative. You are all but cooperating with me to get the hard evidence, to get them really hard treason in jail.
So the tavern is starting to shout. They ain't going to jail in Bright City. That's it. We know that Duke Cahill owns those judges, and like whole murmurs, and they're starting to get ready to hang these people themselves. And if you keep pressing the mayor, you feel like the crowd is going to turn on you because they feel like you're trying to stop justice from happening. They do not believe in the Justice City of Bright City, and further evidence is just harassing the mayor at this point.
Does mayor mention which one of them actually shot his wife?
The way he tells the story was it was a flurry of motion. Like, basically he was racing the carriage, trying to get away from them. They cut him off. The whole carriage rattles. He's like hopped up on adrenaline. They get they start grabbing the lockbox, and in all the confusion, one of them shoots his wife. He's not like a gunslinger. He's not known for that. Everyone really believes that, yeah, he was just a guy in a horrible situation who is completely rattled from this because, let's face it, he's not used to getting robbed, and he's not used to having his wife shot in front of him.
I guess I'm not buying this game, but I will leave it for feedback later. Fine.
Remember,
I like pick the bottle. I like stand up and leave.
Yeah, just a reminder, this game is not about succeeding or failing. It's about what you're willing to give up along the way.
Yeah, but there is no objective to be achieved, and there's I don't know, we are just faffing around.
But if you say your objective is to get the criminals to jail because you are the law, and that is your goal. Or if you're saying, I want to get, I want to find out who really is behind that, then that is what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, the game does not have a hard baked objective into it. The objective of the game overall is to figure out, how is to make the story. Your character might have an individual objective. That is not necessarily shared by the town or the other PCs.
Yeah. So yeah, I walk out. I go back to my office. I don't know. I think I hit the key of Sworn to Justice when I refused his lead justice, and I think I've shown my key of Pride when I impose my will on the mayor.
Oh, absolutely, yes. As a matter of fact, I will also let you turn the key of a fair shot in that there is no reason why you should believe that these criminals are innocent, but you still want to get the evidence to prove that. So you're giving them a fair shot in that you want the evidence, not just to take the mayor at his word.
Yeah.
So yeah, well done, all three keys. Let's let Thomas react to this because he was in the tavern. So you see basically the sheriff press the mayor and the town not reacting well to that. And looks like a situation's brewing. Is there anything you'd like to do here right now?
Well, first of all, Thomas is saying to Lindsay, Damien gets the good stuff. It surely doesn't have anything to do with, how shall I say it, you two being friends.
look, there's the business and there's the personal the supply, and the personal supply isn't very big. Now, if I was getting more business in, circle of friends gets expanded a bit, but you get it.
I don't get it. I mean, who helped you set up this whole thing? It wasn't Damien.
Like I said, that's the business, and I've been paying you back, and we're making the business work. Like I said, that was my personal supply.
And I'm saying it would be a shame if people would start to talk. Wouldn't reflect well on Damien or you.
If you want her personal bottle, you can absolutely get it, but it will cost you a favor with business people.
Hell yeah.
Okay. She reaches, she's like, fine, be a hard ass. She pulls out a bottle. There's about maybe a third of a bottle, and it's nice stuff from back east. But obviously it's not a lot, and you don't know how long it's been sitting underneath the bar. But obviously, this is not this was her bottle of booze. This was not, this was not booze for sale.
Yeah, I get it. I take it, and has passed. So I think I'll walk over to the sheriff's office because I promised to be back after a couple of hours.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we're waiting for Andrew to get back. Let's let because we haven't had Alfred do much recently. Let's let Alfred see where Alfred is, and then we'll all pull together into a big scene.
I do have to say, while the town is about to burn itself down and Thomas is more concerned with the quality of booze that he's getting, that's not explicitly one of his keys, but it sure ought to
be. Let's see. I think that's the key of the iconoclast. When you take action despite others' disapproval.
Yeah, no, that certainly could be. Yeah, just because the way he feels about the town, it's like things are about to go up in flames, and he's like, okay, now hold on, I need the good booze here. It just seems like that's exactly the way he would be.
A man has to have priorities.
Oh, absolutely. That was fantastic, by the way. So, okay. Alfred, you let Owen do the interrogation. John, had a conversation with his brother at some point. What have you been up to while all this was going on?
Well, I think I was, since I was a little bit rattled, I was kind of trying to get my composure back. And then I'm going to head back to the cell to go talk to Trevor, who is the... Actually, no, I think I'd probably go back and hit up Abe. And so I'm going to head back to Abe's cell first, while this statement writing is going on in Trevor's cell. And so I'm going to say, Abe, have you had a chance to think about what we talked about a little earlier?
Ain't much to think about.
All right. Well, I just thought a man who, would never commit violence against a woman, I thought you'd feel a little bit more strongly when it happened.
Look, you want me to be pissed that Miss Dix got shot? Yeah, that rubs me the wrong way. I ain't so happy about it.
I'm sorry, you are confusing two NPCs. You are talking to Trevor, and Abe is like not.
No. I'm talking to Abe.
Yeah, this is Abe.
Okay, I was on the wrong point. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. So yeah, it rubs me the wrong way, but what you want me to say? I wasn't there. Bad shit happens. I can't control what other people do.
Yeah, no, that's
just like
true.
you can't control what I do.
That's absolutely true, Abe. Did you hear anything beforehand? Do you maybe, if you weren't there, do you know who was?
I didn't hear anything about a stagecoach. Not
Okay,
until
well,
you come start shooting the place up.
Abe, I mean, it's my duty to, to bring the people to justice. And if there's anything you can do to help out, why, I'd appreciate it. There might be something I could do for you.
You want me to do something, you can let me out. See what happens.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid that's not the way the law works. I think I think you need to help me, and then I can help you.
Well, you know what I say about the law. Big old pile of horse shit.
Well, I guess that's where you and I'll have to part ways, and so that I'm going to go ahead and leave the cell. I think there's not much else to gain from Abe at this point, so I'm going to go back to Trevor's cell. And so, at what point? I guess has the statement been completely written? Is Luke still in there, or has he left the cell?
Yeah, let's say that everyone's kind of getting back at the same time.
Okay.
And just as everyone comes in, he's like, "Told you I was innocent. I got a witness." He hands you the assigned alibi.
Oh, wow. So
Sheriff is there as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so so I think I'm gonna take a look at it and read it and see what it is, and then I'm gonna have to take it to the sheriff and say, Sheriff.
Now this was Luke Owens who signed this.
Yeah. Oh yes. But I mean I have to show it to the sheriff, and I'm gonna be like, Sheriff, I feel like I let you down. I don't know how this happened while you were out, but it appears that Luke has gone off and come up with an alibi for Trevor, and I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, I think I take the statement, read it loudly, and
By the
look
way,
at.
Everyone's hearing this.
Yes, and I say, look, is this true? Were you with this man all 4 days prior to this one?
No, you guys know this is bullshit. He got a hold of my gun. I don't know what I thought, thinking that that these men would be men of virtue. I mean, they are outlaws. They are on the outside of law. But I tried a gambit, and you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them, and I should have folded.
So your statement is that
Trevor's like, no. The statement's true. Why are you throwing me under the bus like this? We're buddies. We're buddies.
What's a bus?
Throw under the horse.
Threw him under the wagon.
Threw me under the wagon.
Yeah.
No. I gave this man all the opportunities to give me the truth and to even shoot me. And all he did was think selfishly about it, and so I got nowhere with this man. But
look, you gave this man opportunity to shoot you. Yes.
Yeah.
Look,
but,
you gave this opportunity, man, to shoot you. Yes.
But yes, I did. Yeah.
In cell.
Yeah.
He got a hold of your weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I take out. Is this time of lighters, or do we still use? Oh my god.
There are matches. In fact, there are, I believe, strike anywhere matches. There is also lighters, but lighters look a bit different. They literally have a cloth wick, kind of like a corded wick that comes out, and a flint wheel. So when you press down on a button, it reveals the wick and then shoots sparks at the wick that's usually soaked with a kind of lighter or fluid.
Okay, I take the lighter. I burn the statement and throw it into the metal bucket so that not everything will be burned.
You totally do that, and you totally lose a favor with the outlaws.
And
guess-
so how does that fit with key of duty? I mean, that sounds an awful. I mean, like that was a sworn statement. That sounds an awful lot like a buy off on key of duty.
Oh yeah, if you want to buy off key of duty, you can absolutely do that.
No, Luke just stated that he was forced to write it.
Okay, you totally get to turn key of pride though.
I'm not really. I didn't do it for this purpose.
Yeah, this is not a buy off. This is you. Yeah, you're showing that your judgment of the law is beyond Trevor's. So
Okay.
I'm totally letting you get the experience off of key of pride. Whether or not you decide to buy off key of duty.
No. I'm not buying it off. And then I just look at Luke and I say, I'm sorry, Luke, but you gotta turn in your badge. I think you kind of allowed a man in a cell get a hold of a weapon. I'm sorry to say, but I think you have to like turn back your badge.
Yeah, I'm not fit for duty, kind of thing. I think that makes sense.
You got kicked out of the posse. There's
All
no.
right, let me think for a second how I would feel about that.
This can go into a negotiation. So, Walters is kicking you out of the posse. You can negotiate consequences if he does that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's totally rightful. I think it makes sense. What kind of consequence?
You don't have to put one in.
Yeah,
It's just
no. I think it makes sense. I don't know if there necessarily needs to be a consequence to that. I tried something. That's the purpose of a gambit, right? To do something crazy at the expense of what it might cost me, and it cost me a position in the vigilance committee. So I think it makes sense that I get booted out. Yeah. That being said, I'm not really a man of I'm not like a sheriff anyway, so I'm not really trained on how to do this stuff well.
Yeah, and you can see like Damien with like a really heavy heart, really like he is tired after all day. He knows he lost a lot of favor today, and taking your badge isn't like light decision for Damien. So I just like take your badge with one hand, like shake your hand with the second one, and just thanks, Luke. Thanks for your help today. But I believe we got it from here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel sad about that. My imparting my words of wisdom on you as someone who cares about this town and what is good for this town. It's important that you find out what really happened here and that you bring the right men to justice. We are nothing if we are not lawful. And, we have the government trying to take every penny we have. We have the townsfolk trying to murder men, whether it's lawful or not. We have women getting shot in the night. And you're the sheriff here, so just do everything you can to make sure that you find the right man, and I'll do what I can on the business front and with the townsfolk just to keep them calm on that end.
Speaking of the townful, look, I'll be very much in your favor if you just keep them not to rally up too much.
Yeah, if I have to dig into my own coffers to spread some wealth just to keep the morale high in town and make sure that their focus is away from murdering and pillaging these town and these men. If I have to buy extra drink, I'll spend it out of my own coffers on that.
Thank you, Luke. And I will see that justice comes to this man. So far, and I just look at everyone, and I just like, while you are still here, I just like gather you all up before you leave and like away from their cells, and I just say, so have we learned anything from them?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll basically kind of give the report. I'll say, well, Abe swears he wasn't there, knows nothing about it. Trevor, well, you heard everything about Trevor from Luke. So basically they both say they weren't there. They know nothing about it. You should probably talk to John about Billy. I'm not sure I didn't get a chance to talk to Billy. So I don't know what he said.
And I look at John. Anything from Billy?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we can offer him some sort of reward, I think we can get him to talk. I think we can get him to talk. I think we can get him to give enough evidence that we can actually get a conviction for once.
And I'll ask. And do you trust him, John? Do you think he'll tell us the truth? Because I mean, this is the law. This is important. He needs to provide a truthful testimony.
I told him he needed to tell us a story that'll stick. I made that clear. Nothing sticks better than the truth. You know that.
Very well. What kind of reward are we talking about?
And that's the thing. It's got to be enough money for him to get out of town and set himself up someplace else. Because he does this, he's burning all his bridges. I think he's not going to do it for less than $1,000. No, that's a lot of money, but this is the mayor's wife. This is a big deal.
$1,000. Maybe we can turn him into state witness. $1,000. By the way, I think that's it. That's enough. That's about the amount of money that each one of us is maybe doing a year. Yes, in a year.
It's more than that.
Yeah. John, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there were less than $1,000 in this logbox. So
yeah,
I appreciate your negotiations.
I mean, it's not so much the reward for them. Look, we're talking about the mayor. We're talking about the mayor's wife here. I mean, I figure you telling me that the city cat. This is you're going to have to give him a bunch of money to get him to talk. That's just how he's got to get out of town, Sheriff. You know that he's not going to do this for some petty ante reward. You give him you give him $100. How long would that last him?
And Sheriff, I think we need to be careful with this. This was the mayor's wife. He lost his son a year ago, and he still carries a grudge towards me. I think if we start talking about letting these guys out of jail and giving them money, I think he's not going to stand for it, or at least we need to be prepared for his reaction.
Look, I mean, whatever story Billy's going to tell, he's going to come out of it smelling like a rose. So it's like if we tell the mayor that one of the members of Cahill's gang is willing to turn the others in, I think the sheriff will. I'm sorry. I think the mayor will go for it. The mayor will be over the moon if we send a couple of these people to jail.
Yeah, although I think we have to convince him that we got the right trigger man. If he thinks the person who actually pulled the trigger is getting off, then there's going to be hell to pay.
Sure, but you figure he's going to be easy to convince. This is what he wants to think.
Sheriff, what do you think?
I'll go talk with Billy and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, I mean, you might be able to get him to go down a little bit on the reward. I didn't push too hard, but I mean, it's got to be enough for him to get out of town, or else it's not worth it. Not worth it to him. I mean, we don't get somebody's testimony. They're all going to get off. So we need to make him a good offer.
Well, but I mean, we have the mayor's testimony, right? The mayor says these are the three that did it. That's why we arrested them. I think his testimony is going to weigh pretty heavy with any jury.
Sure, but you know, Duque will get the boys off. Duque always gets the boys off. We need something more than just testimony.
Hey, so even though I know I gave my badge and I'm not part of this group, I'm still in the scene. Is that right? Is this
Yes,
before I
yes.
left?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're still here.
Yes.
Okay, gentlemen, let me ask you this. We're all standing here. It seems like we have venerably or metaphorically, we have these three men's necks in a noose, and we can either let them drop and take the fall for this, or we can spend the rest of our night trying to defend them, or we can let the villagers come in and impart Western justice on these men. So I think we need to just put up the united front. Where do we stand as far as how to address this? Is any neck as good as any other neck? Do we want to make sure that they get to Bright City, and then so it's somebody else's responsibility? Do we just let the mob in here? Are we trying to find the right answer to like what actually happened? Are we just wanting to get home to our wife and kids and call it a day and dust our hands off? What do we really find important here?
I think the mayor, like I said, has told us who the perpetrators are, and they need to go to Bright City? Is that right? Mm-hmm. They need to go to court and have their day in court, and the law will exonerate them if they're empty or if they're innocent, and find them guilty and hang them if they're guilty.
Alfred, I hate to burst your bubble, but you do know that they will just return like a week later. That's your justice. Your justice is to let them go. That's your justice? Well, I spit my tobacco into the bowl that is probably there.
So you're because we're at 4 o'clock or past 4 o'clock. I said that we were going to run 3 hours per session. So we're going to cut off with a dramatic cliffhanger. From outside, you hear an angry mob getting riled up, and there is Mayor Dix on a soapbox, calling for them to lynch these three men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.
So yeah,
Cool.
I'd be willing to debrief a bit in Discord after this because I do have some extra time. But I want to thank everyone for playing and for giving this game a shot. I know it's a little bit different for some people, but I think it's really going a great direction. And it's not a game about success. It's a game about what happens when you try.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yep. Quick question about Discord. Is that all text, or does it also have like?
It has a voice.
Okay.
It's not voice. It's video and text. So there's a specific debrief channel in Discord.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've just never been on it.
Yeah.
Is there any way you could just put the link to that specific in this chat, so like we don't have to try to find it through there? Is that possible?
Are you part of the Gauntlet Discord?
Yeah, I think so. It'll be in one of those rooms.
Yeah, it's one of the. So if you're in the left portion where it's telling you all the options, one of them is debrief, and it has the little sound icon. So if you're in the Gauntlet Discord, you really can't miss it.
Okay.
I think this should be the direct link to the debrief to the debrief, and I think that Discord is open for all, not only for patrons. So I think it's not a crime to post it.
Okay. Well, excellent. Thank you so much, and I'll see some of you or all of you in Discord.
Yes. Yeah,
thanks, man. Yep. Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye.
See you.